This is the Nerf Ultra Select. It's a full-auto flywheel-powered Ultra Blaster. It comes with two 10-round Ultra magazines, including 10 of the standard Ultra darts and 10 of the new Ultra Pinpoint darts. It doesn't, however, include 6 of the C batteries required to operate it, and it costs 60 United States dollars. I think it's okay. I think it's a perfectly acceptable Ultra Blaster, and I would use it in a game. But I don't think it's going to convince people to jump into Ultra if they haven't already. The darts are at least somewhat more interesting and might be my favorite thing of the whole package. But let's talk about it. Hello everyone, my name is Beret, and sometimes I wear a beret, and today we are once again talking about Nerf Ultra. I know it's not the first time I've talked about it, and it's probably not going to be the last, and it has been almost 2 years since the Ultra 1 debuted, and a lot has changed. And I completely understand if you are actually interested in Ultra these days because there are some compelling blasters out there. And I also completely understand that there are some people who will never be on board with Ultra. And that's okay too. We are going to look at the Ultra Select today and talk a little bit more about where Ultra is at this point. If I think it's worth your money, worth your time, or not at all. But if you're watching this video, you probably have some sort of notion on that already. Hey, let's look at the box. I've said this before and I will stand by my statements. I think Ultra has some pretty good looking packaging. And it's not completely lying to me anymore. Oh wait, I'm looking at the back and it does say up to 120 feet. That's not true, but what this box does tell us right off the bat is that we're getting some different darts with this box. And I have been waiting to see what Precise Pro, that's a different brand, what the Ultra Pinpoint darts are actually going to be, and here they are. And it does advertise this magazine switching capability. Cool. And along with getting a blaster in the box, you do of course get your Ultra Select instructions, which are very important to read. Kind of. Well, I mean, if you get a jam, maybe this will help you out too. But more importantly for me, these instructions will make a fine addition to my collection. We now return to the Ultra Select itself, and I think this blaster looks pretty good. I'll echo what most people have said. It's a pretty good looking Ultra Rapid Strike, because that's kind of what it is. It's a good length for my body as well. The stock's a good length. It's got the Ultra Bright and Gold on one side, the Select right here. It's all white on the other side, as if we, didn't expect that. Now let's jump to the main feature of this blaster, which is of course the dual magazines, and I think it's better executed than the Busby Mutator. You'll find that the magazines are slightly different, where one of them is clear on one side, this being the left, and the other is clear on the right. Can you even see that? Take my word for it. I have found, interestingly enough, like that magazine slides in really easily, and then that one's slightly tighter, and it didn't matter which slot that was in. Maybe it's because of the different plastic for the different sides. Weird, but it was noticeable. Maybe you'll see the same thing. This magazine system, it works. It definitely does what it's advertised to do. Using the pump grip in the front, that is how you are intended to swap magazines. So in this backwards position, the right magazine is engaged. If I pump it forward, then the left one is engaged. Of course, that is not the only way you can change magazines. You can shake it. You can push it. You can pull it, you can bop it. When your hand is on the pump grip, it's not going to change magazines, obviously, but then you have to remember not to just pull it back accidentally. Just keep that in mind, try not to move your hand around too much, but it is a rather sturdy changing mechanism, so it probably won't happen. If anything, it's just if you have one hand in use and you're shaking the blaster around, you may accidentally change magazines. You can reload on the fly as well, as seen right here. The first dart's really easy. The second one, you'll probably have to start squishing your Ultra darts, which I don't necessarily want to do because of how weird they are. And if you want to hear what 6 C batteries sound like, headphone warning, it's decently loud, but I don't think it's too surprisingly loud if you've used any other flywheel-powered Ultra blasters, or if you use LiPos. Quick rate of fire demo, here's 5 Ultra darts loaded in each of the magazines. You can see it's pretty straightforward to load both at the same time, and here's what it looks like. I don't even know if you could see that, but it works. It's not the fastest rate of fire, unsurprisingly. The fact that we're using 10-round magazines, I don't necessarily think I want super fast rate of fire, because I'm gonna deplete these super quickly. I haven't had any jams with it yet, with any of the ammo I've tested through it. Let's move back to the handle, because that's where you're going to be very involved with this blaster. The handle is not huge as per usual. I think it's relatively comfortable, similar to the amp. I'd need to directly compare that, but it doesn't feel as uncomfortable as, say, the Ultra 1 or the Ultra 2. So that's good. Not great is this knuckle duster. It's not as bad as the Ultra 5, but that really is my least favorite overall when it comes to obstruction of your hand. So this one's not the worst, but it still seems unnecessary. You could remove it, I think, without too much invasion, assuming you open the blaster just fine, but you're still gonna have some gaping holes. And then the rev trigger and the trigger itself, they're too small. Unfortunately, that's been a common issue with the Ultra blasters, so no change. This one is really sharp. The handle also brings to light one other chief complaint I have with this blaster. Now, Ultra is good in that the plastic is Nerf quality. High quality we would expect from Nerf, and why we're usually pretty comfortable with their releases, like, oh, at least it's going to be Nerf quality plastic. For the most part it is. The white plastic is good and stable. The stock, for a weird shape it is in my first thoughts, is pretty good. This front orange shroud for the barrel, it's a little flimsier, but I guess that's fine because I don't want to get hit by something that's super hard, so understandable, gets a pass. This top sight, similar, kind of flimsy, similar to the knuckle duster down here, but again, it's an extremity, pass. The pump grip, or the mag changing grip, is nice and hard. That's good, that's good. But the handle is cheap plastic. This is squishy, and you can notice that if you actually put your hand there and squish. And I don't think that's a good thing for a blaster that has electronics in the handle. Hasbro, what were you thinking? This is not a good idea. So regardless of the shape, regardless of the size, I think the squishiness is what makes me the most confused, because that doesn't seem like a good idea any day of the week. And again, I haven't had any jams, malfunctions, electronic malfunctions because of that. It's just a weird feeling, and I hope that doesn't become a negative in the future. So the Ultra Select looks good, it's okay on comfort, and the mag changing is okay as well. How does it perform? The rate of fire is okay, but how does the performance on this blaster measure up to other Ultra blasters? About the same for what you'd expect, actually. Now this is where we start discussing more about the Ultra darts versus Ultra Pinpoint darts, because as you've probably heard from anyone else, it's night and day. Ultra darts were originally advertised to be accurate. They're the precise darts, and this is one reason that people were not too keen to take to Ultra immediately, and claiming a dart flies a certain distance on its own is silly. They do fly decently far out of blasters provided. True, do they hit 120 feet? No. Does this blaster hit 120 feet? No. Needs a good tailwind. Can it do 80 plus? Certainly. Now with Ultra darts, the standard Ultra darts, the accuracy just isn't there. And that's also to be expected because we know every previous Ultra blaster using Ultra darts was almost never accurate. Sometimes they were, most of the times they weren't. Enter Ultra Pinpoint darts. Is there any reason now to use a standard Ultra dart over a Pinpoint dart? Absolutely not. The only reason that you would do that is because they're more plentiful. And this is the biggest concern I have for Pinpoint going forward. I haven't seen the new refill packs yet, and when I originally speculated on them, I said, well, they better be less expensive, maybe they'll be made of a different material, obviously they weren't, and maybe they will actually be more accurate. Well, they are more accurate. It's not perfect accuracy, but it works. And just testing out of this blaster, I found that the chronograph readings for the Pinpoint darts were just as good, if not sometimes better, than standard Ultra darts. So again, why use standard ones, though they didn't fly as far? And here's your bouquet of Ultra Pinpoint darts. Out of this blaster already, you can tell that some of the glue has gotten a little bit frayed on the ends. I found that for all of them as well, so I wonder if flywheelers are really abusing these already. I had seen from other users that some of the heads were a bit deformed. Fortunately, all of mine didn't seem to have that problem. So let's just give a quick, definitive list of my favorite Ultra darts. Starting at the bottom, you've got standard Ultra darts. Trash. Right above that, you've got the gold Ultra darts, which are included with the Dorado and the Pharaoh, because they're gold. They're prettier, they're easier to find. The standard ones aren't easy to find. Right above that, you've got the sonic screamers, because they make a noise. And it's really terrifying when you're shooting a sonic screamer out of a high-powered Ultra Blaster or other blaster that can shoot Ultra Darts. Harder to find still, but they sound cool. And sometimes they're more accurate. I don't know if I have enough data to make that claim. And then of course, right at the top, you've got Pinpoint darts. These are also much easier to find because they're silver bodies and red heads. One thing I have found though, 2 of these darts, there's the other one. I don't know what this is that I have found on my Ultra Dart. Something got into this batch. I'm not totally sure. Do you see those little black pieces in my quote-unquote Ultra Foam? And now that I've waited so long to uncover the truth, it is time to take it out. Yeah, it's a little plastic vein. I don't know if it was going to cause any harm because it was embedded in the Ultra Dart, but I don't want that. I don't want that in my fancy Ultra Dart that costs money, especially my Pinpoint Dart. Hey Nerf, you might want to check on your quality control with Ultra. This is premium stuff. Just kind of weird, didn't seem to affect the performance, but I hadn't seen that anywhere else. And now you know to watch out for poisoned Ultra Darts. So with those thoughts on the Ultra Select and the Pinpoint Darts, let's bring it back to Ultra overall, because I've been thinking about now where Ultra stands. If I were to give my recommendations on what to go out and get, well, I know there are some people who don't want to invest in Ultra at all. Like I said before, completely understandable. But if I was to look at all the blasters that exist and give my recommendations, there's a clear-cut price list. Here it is, I will add later. The Select is the most expensive. That kind of sucks. And is it worth $60? I don't really know if it is. For some people, it might be. At a discount, oh, I think it's a totally useful blaster. It might be fun to use, we'll see what more people do with it. If you have a lot of Ultra magazines that you invest in, this could be the blaster for you. So let's talk more about what do I do think is the best. Well, in terms of performance, here's what I think in terms of Ultra. There might be some wiggle room in that, depending on your user experience as well. I've seen a lot of different data, so sorry, don't sue me, but I think there is a clear cut between springers at the top and flywheelers at the bottom. This blaster performs all right, but I don't think it's the highest performing Ultra blaster. Now, that said, some of the best shots out of an Ultra flywheeler are probably above the worst shots out of an Ultra springer, but still, springers are performing better than flywheelers in stock configuration. I can't even finish. I made a note on the side with what I thought were my personal recommendations. I'm gonna stick to this list. Here it is. This is what I think of Ultra right now. Again, this is my completely biased opinion, with then trying to take some of the bias out because I know that I'm a weirdo and sometimes I use things that don't make sense. I think that the 4 and the Pharaoh are your best bets, and they're both springers. The 4 because it's the least expensive. It's a single shot pistol, which means you just carry around like a bag of Ultra ammo, you shoot, it's fun, it's got some decent mod potential, it's a nice chunky, comfortable pistol. So that's great. On the other end of the spectrum, you got the Pharaoh. It's a good looking sniper rifle, takes magazines, it's bolt action, it looks the part, but it also performs. It's a cool looking blaster, and I think they did a decent job with it, but it's expensive. And then I would put the amp ahead of the Select for me, but I'd put the amp also, I don't know if I'd get an amp. See, this is why it's so weird. But the Select is definitely middle of the pack for me. Do whatever you want. I don't know. It's Nerf Ultra. I'd love to hear what you guys think in the comment section down below. I can't wait to see what I cut from all my rambling as well. Thank you everyone so much for watching. Subscribe for more Ultra content. From me, the Ultra enthusiast Beret, not winner of the Nerf Ultra Championship. When are they going to do another one of those? And I will see you in the next one.